We're in Barnstaple in North Devon. The site of the current town has been in occupation for over 1,000 years. With a long history like that, this town is certain to have a few spirits around. We're investigating a residential property which was built in around 1605. We were invited in by the owner earlier this year. At the owner's request, we cannot divulge the exact location. Hewitt and Mark arrived early to set up the CCTV system, and the rest of the team arrived shortly after. We intentionally told our mediums Kaz and Anne as little as possible prior to the investigation. At 9:20 p.m, after a quick tour of the property and some baseline tests, Kaz and Anne began solo vigils in the 2 bedrooms. Meanwhile, John and Stu began a vigil in the back bedroom. Hewitt, Mark, the homeowner and her friend were in the back kitchen monitoring CCTV. 10 minutes later, Anne was joined by Mark. Shortly after that, she picked up on a spirit named George.
So is your name George? Is that right? Okay, I think I just heard George, Mark. Do you have a last name? Or your last name? Okay, the man's called George.
Okay.
Still here. He lived here, but he doesn't call it home. I got a sense he was crawling on the floor. But then in my ear, I could hear like he was gasping for air. And it wasn't done like to frighten me, it wasn't a frightening noise, it was just a very peculiar, like it was right in my one ear.
What's amazing about this is that later on, when Kaz was in this room, she picked up on the same gentleman.
Whoever disconnected the energy that I'm picking up on this chair, when they passed, they couldn't breathe properly, their throat is literally burning. I think it's because it's something to do with heavy smoking, because that's the feeling I get. It's heavy smoking and the burning in my throat, which is extremely uncomfortable. But there is nothing negative, it's just this.
Now remember, they've both been kept separate and they've not had a chance to discuss their findings. Incredibly, 15 minutes after Anne picked up on this, and before Kaz did, the owner joined Mark and Anne in the room and began to feel affected.
Okay.
Oh God, is there something here?
George is in that area.
Yeah, I've got a very specific feeling like something's right there.
You find it hard to breathe? Okay.
Can you say that?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's George. George, can you step away, please?
Yeah, almost like I can't.
Was my questions a bit probing? I'm sorry, but step away a little bit.
This is fantastic. Not only do both of our mediums separately pick up on this spirit and his death, but now the owner is beginning to feel the effects of his condition. We do want to point out that she was not in the room when Anne said this originally, and on this investigation, we had no way of listening to the CCTV audio live at the base station, so there's no way she could have heard Anne say this. Also while in this room, which we've dubbed the Stickman room due to the laptop camera experiment set up in here, both Mark and Anne heard a whistle. This was picked up by Anne's audio recorder.
I thought I just heard a whistle.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, no, it wasn't me. It was very faint whistling.
Do you?
Like a,
Yeah.
very, yeah, just like that. No, I heard it.
Meanwhile, over in the mirror room, John and Stu have had a quiet vigil. It wasn't until afterwards when we reviewed the footage that we found this EVP.
I've got a recorder over there on the desk as well. If you are in the room with us, can you touch that again and make it light up and make a noise?
We're only here to try and communicate with you. We're just interested to know who you are and what you're about. We're only here to...
After about 40 minutes, Kaz and Anne swapped rooms, and again, they aren't given a chance to discuss what they found with each other at this point.
Thank you. Appreciate that tap. Sorry, I was just trying to make out what the sound was that you were making. But the tap was brilliant, thank you very much.
Meanwhile, something disturbing happens to Kaz back in the Stickman room.
Ah. She was smacked in the ribs.
You alright?
Oh, someone literally just like poleaxed me in my ribs.
Is Kaz picking up on the memory of a violent attack? And did you notice the voice just before? Here it is again. We've enhanced the audio.
Ow. Ow.
What's really compelling here is that the audio was picked up most cleanly on the audio recorder on the floor between them.
Ow.
But when we zoom in, neither of their lips are moving. So where did this voice come from? At this point, Kaz and Anne team up to investigate the moon room. Hewitt takes a break from monitoring the CCTV to hold a solo vigil in the Stickman room while Stu investigates the living room downstairs. John also spends an uneventful half an hour in the chair room. Hewitt has with him a REM pod. This is a device with an antenna which can pick up on electrical energy within 6 to 8 inches of it. If something enters the field, an alarm sounds.
I can feel you near me because my face is tingling. Thank you. Get closer to that blue light. It's not going to hurt. It just makes a noise. Thank you so much. Can you tell me your name? Ah. Okay, step away from it for me for 1 minute. Thanks.
As you can see, the activity stopped when Hewitt asked. This is the only time the REM pod activated in the whole half an hour, which makes it far more likely that it could have been something paranormal and less likely to be an electrical signal from within the house. To show how close you need to be to activate it, here you can see the owner testing it.
That's all you need to do.
Hewitt's leg was much further away from this when it triggered, so what did set it off? Downstairs, Stuart had a very quiet vigil. It wasn't until afterwards, when checking the EVP recorder, we found this heavy breath.
I don't think there's anything in here. Just so quiet. Just so quiet.
Back in the moon room, Kaz and Anne have been discussing a witch with the...
So when we came in earlier, your energy felt like a witch's energy to me. Is that right? Were you a witch? Well, are you a witch? Not were you a witch, you still are a witch.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
That's why I was nodding my head.
Really
Yes.
clear.
Yes.
Lovely, thank you. Me too, and Kaz, so you're in good company. So when I came in and I walked up the stairs, I got a feeling, an uneasy feeling, and then when I walked back down and I put all my pieces together, I feel like you were dragged from this room down and then you were hung. Is that what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Did they mistreat you? You didn't deserve that. You did what you believed in.
I can actually feel
The tightness.
They drag you by your wrists and your hair. They've got excruciating pain around here. And here, that's what I had in the other room as well. I can feel like they're literally
yanking.
Or like that. And using anything they can get to, this and this.
While discussing the witches, Anne begins to hear the sound of crickets. This is picked up by her audio recorder.
I can hear crickets.
You can hear, okay.
No, I can hear crickets, like now. I can hear crickets.
Well, that wouldn't be out of the realms of feasibility with witchcraft.
And it's very random. It's really loud. There's some electrical cables, isn't there? What's the hell out of me electrics?
That's because you can hear them, I can't.
Yes, completely hear. You can hear that.
I can definitely feel
It
it.
sounded like crickets, it's not, it's intermittent electrical.
Well, that wouldn't be out of the realms of feasibility with witchcraft.
And it's very random. It's really loud. It wasn't crickets, by the way, it's beetles.
Beetles? Oh, okay.
Oh no, that's what it was. She heard beetles. You hear beetles when you're time set as a witch.
Yeah, you do.
And she heard beetles.
So she knew.
Later on in their vigil, something seems to affect Anne in an unpleasant way.
That was just before you came in, I think. We were
Oh, okay.
talking
That's
about
fine.
Lucy.
I thought it was Rose here, wasn't it?
I said Rose downstairs.
Rose?
Yeah, downstairs. I said Rose.
What were we going about? I'm confused. Oh my god.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. I'm confused. Who's Rose?
I'm-
Why are we on about Rose?
I mentioned Rose downstairs.
But why have you mentioned her now?
I don't know.
And where the hell has it got my backup?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Not me. And I'm sorry.
I mentioned Rose downstairs in the other room.
Yeah, but we were just on about
Lucy.
and then you've come out with Rose. And
No,
then
you said Rose.
Did I say Rose?
Yes. She did, didn't she?
Well, Rose obviously has something to do with my bloody death then, because this is making me upset and I'm really angry with you. And I'm not joking.
No, you just said Rose when we were talking about Lucy, but I said Rose downstairs.
No, I don't think I did say Rose.
You did, I swear. Can you play that back?
Well,
Take back
when we
the
go, yeah.
I haven't said it since downstairs.
Alright, well she's me off.
Because I heard, do you not remember? I said I heard someone calling Rose. That was downstairs. When I took my shoes off.
Okay, but what? Why now?
I don't
Just
know.
mentioned Rose.
No, you said first. Sorry, we're going to have a debate.
But I do know, as soon as you mentioned that name, it made me severely angry. Up here, like now. Like, literally, I know I said to you, why have you just said Rose? And I know I said it in a horrible tone. I have no idea why.
I don't know.
We need to work on that.
Okay, I don't know.
Because that's not like me and you.
No, I don't know.
After this, the team took a break to refresh and to allow Anne to listen back to the audio. Next up was a team Ouija board session in the Stickman room. Unfortunately, this proved uneventful. So the team then moved into the moon room where Kaz and Anne had been talking to the witch. Having received very little activity, John was convinced that the spirits didn't like Stephen himself, so they decided to ask.
I just read that, exactly what happened there.
What?
Oh, for God's sake, John Stewart in here, let's go.
Do you like John and Stuart? You want them to stay?
They're alright. Just about.
Do you like John? Ooh, smooth.
I think that's his phone. No.
No.
Oh, he's alright.
No.
He's alright.
Just to confirm, do you like John? Just trying to think. Okay.
That's a bit harsh. It's just a bit.
This next EVP was caught on 5 different devices in the room and was certainly not spoken by anyone present.
Were you taught to read and write? It'll help us to understand how to communicate with you. Bring it back to the middle. Start again.
The rest of the session was fairly uneventful. The spirits tried to communicate and did a little, but either couldn't or didn't want to really give us much information. The team finished up the night with a vigil in the living room, which resulted in John becoming fixated on the alcove next to the chimney. At the end of the night, his curiosity was satisfied when we were told by the owners that this had once been a priest hole, and the owners had discovered it and opened it up a few years ago. This has been a fascinating investigation. To our knowledge, we're the first team to ever investigate here, and we'd love to come back again. What did you think of our evidence? Let us know in the comments section. We'd love to know your thoughts. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.